Are you tired of fighting with low quality subcontractors in your home service business and you want to pivot to W-2 employees? Then this video is for you. In this video, I'm going to break down the pros and the cons of hiring and managing W-2 employees. And we're going to get into my personal experience in my house painting business. I have 14 W-2 painters, 4 crews, rocking and rolling, creating great outcomes for our customers. So I'm going to get into how I attract, how I maintain, and manage W-2 employees in this video. So let's talk about some pros and cons. Well, W-2 employees are a challenge if you're unaware of the pros and the cons that are involved in them. But the reward, in my opinion, is far greater than the pain of going through the process of hiring, managing, and maintaining them. So let's dive into it. So pro number 1 is team. So I'm a big team guy. I grew up playing sports, baseball, football, and I love camaraderie. I feel like when I work on a job site and there's good energy, we're all working together. That's a great feeling. And I love the fact that, this team who gets to work together over and over and over again, that's our culture on the job site. So our customers feel that. I love going up to a job site, seeing people working together. And what's great about, W-2 employees is that it doesn't take a lot to create a tandem, right? So that's 2, but when you throw a third together, now you really got a team. And in my experience, I've even had 4 painters on a job site, and man, it almost reminds me of when I used to play football. It's like starting a football game in the beginning of the day. Everyone's getting everything ready to go. So this is when I used to work on the job, but I just love that camaraderie that comes with W-2 employees that with subcontractors you don't really get. It's almost like they're on their team, you're on your team, and you guys are kind of playing together for the ultimate goal, just to make money. So of course there's a time and a place for that, but this is about W-2s, and we're going to highlight the value there. So the next one is loyalty. So I have had individuals who still work for me this day in my painting business now, going on 9 years. Okay. Loyalty. I love loyalty. I think, for me, I'm loyal to my customers in any sense, in every sense of the word. And my team members are a reflection of that. They come to work every day. They wear the premium painting logo. That means the world to me. They drive the premium painting vehicles. Obviously loyalty is, in this case, a component of branding, but with subcontractors, you don't really get them wearing your stuff. I mean, they're not really allowed to if you're going by the book. So for me, I want my team showing up in our brand colors, making our customer feel good about the fact that who they hired is the same company that showed up to do the work. These trust indicators mean a lot to me. But I love the fact that I can build loyalty with my team, and that loyalty gets passed on to the customer. So I feel like the loyalty component with W-2 employees is super high, and ultimately really just gives me a great sense of that component of branding happening as well. The next one is impact. So impact in the lives of the team members is a big deal for me. At some point you make a bunch of money and you realize that, chasing the money is cool, but the impact, if you chase that, you get the impact plus the money. So I write a lot about that in the 31 Days of Value book. But really where I'm getting at is, seeing someone, that you sat down with at Starbucks 5 years ago, okay, and asking that individual where they see themselves in 5 years, and that individual pointing back to me saying, I see myself where you are. Well, that's now my GM, Julio, who runs the whole business. And what's awesome about that is the impact that was created in his life that now gets created in the lives of the people he manages, which is the entire team now. It's just so cool to see. Like, that to me is worth it, right? And sometimes, I couldn't tell you who we're painting for. I'm sure there's impact being created in the homes and the lives of the customers we serve. But man, when you talk about impact in your employees, when you seeing them grow, every one of our managers started off as a painter. This means the world to me. It really does. I love my team. I love that culture, that impact that we can create in their lives. I love seeing them, be able to, get a place to live, get a car. Like, these things matter to me because of the business that we set up to help them succeed. So for me, love the impact component of W-2. The next one, from a sales perspective, I'm a sales guy, right? in a few senses of the word. But I love sales. I love conveying value to people. I love that closing moment, right? I love sitting at that table. I haven't done it in a while. I miss it. I might need to get out there again. I feel like I miss that, sitting at the table, man. Everybody's getting ready to see the number. You've built so much freaking rapport, and you got a customers ready to buy. Man, I miss that. But let's talk about the value of W-2 in this sense, because I feel like time is the greatest leverage we have when it comes to sales. And you see this in Amazon, you see this in retail. My wife tells me all the time that, the offer's ending today and we got to buy it. But generally speaking, man, like the thing about, time is that when you have W-2 employees, you control the time, you control the schedule, you know where your team's going to be. And I love that at the closing table. Miss Jones, I've got my best team available July 29th for 5 days for this project. They don't hear that from other people. Some W-2 business owners aren't that organized, but those that are organized but have subs, they can't guarantee that. They're hoping, but I can guarantee it. I'll make sure my team's there because I own their schedule during the work hours, right? So I know where they're going to be. And that's leverage, that's confidence. And I think that that's another component, another pro, the confidence of the team being where they say they're going to be is one thing, but knowing who's going to be going to the job is another. We have 4 crews, so not as much as I used to, but Julio knows exactly which team leader is good for which customer, man. And sure, you can accomplish this with subs, but to a certain level, you're going to prioritize just getting the job done. And again, the sub model is more transactional versus like, dude, I'm playing matchmaker. I don't know about you, but I'm trying to make sure that we're leveraging crew leader personality and skill set to job, and that's going to give us a little bit of a boost. So those things matter to us. Obviously, we've been working with our crews for so long because they're our crews that we just know their temperaments, we know what jobs they like, and we know what customers they're best with. This is a key component to growth in business. So just keep that in mind. Pro number 5 is better margins. So for me, you make more money per job. Our margins on average are 40 to 55, sometimes 60% gross margin. On average, it's about 47 to 52%. This is your reminder to job cost your jobs. But the idea here is to recognize that, the W-2 model is not the growth model, right? This is not the put fuel and just explode model. Okay. For me, I am not the painting business owner that wants a $10 million painting business at all. I want a $2 million painting business, maybe $2.5 million painting business. And I want to never hear my phone ring ever. I want to treat it like it's a franchise that I bought into that I get dividends from. That to me is freedom. That is the ultimate goal. I'm sure you would agree. So for me, it's like, okay, we don't need that many jobs. We don't need to do 40 jobs, right? Like we need maybe 25 to 30 jobs. And each one of those jobs are hitting a gross profit margin because our labor cost is far less than what it would be if we had to pay another business to do the job. So I love that aspect of the business because I know people that are only making 30% on a job they sold when if they had employees, if they set up the employee structure, even with taxes and all that stuff, you're coming out with 45 to 50%. So, you're getting more bang for your buck when it comes to each job being sold. I love that. Okay. So those are my 5 pros for W-2s. Let's get into the cons. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. You know that. So number 1, taxes, payroll, and insurance. Wow. Okay. I mean, workers' comp is expensive. Payroll, we got to get all that figured out. And insurance. I mean, you have to obviously make sure that, your team's covered. You got to make sure all that stuff. It is a pain. Gusto makes it easy. Love Gusto. There's a link somewhere around here. If you don't have it, you need it. Okay. What I love about it is I can just put in their email when I hire them and they get a great onboarding experience with Gusto. The taxes get paid for me, direct deposits into their account. By the way, Job costing is a lot easier with subs because you're not tracking hours. That's one of my cons. But what I will say is that with subs, it's pretty easy, man. You just, hey, the job's 10 grand. You're getting 60% of it. So here's 6 grand. I keep 4 grand. You figure out how to paint it. I'll go sell the next one, right? So there is that component of ease when it comes to taxes and all that stuff because you don't worry about it. You just 1099 them and write it off. You do need workers' comp. However, if they have an exemption, then, that's one thing. So you do have to track that stuff with subs. But again, ease of paying people, way easier with subs. With employees, you got to worry about them milking hours. This is one of the biggest questions I get. I got it the other day on X. Someone's like, Tanner, how do you make sure that they do their job? Like how? Well, good management. You got to make sure your crew leaders are motivated. You got to understand, first of all, you got to pay them well and well enough to know that they need to do the job on time, and you have to make sure they know what the time frame is. And you have to give them the opportunity to negotiate that time frame if they feel like something's wrong. But we just eliminated this whole bonus for getting your job done on time thing in my business. And it was a choice I made because I don't want people to feel like they get bonus for doing the job. The actual job description for crew leader in my business is get your jobs done in the amount of time that we allocate for the jobs. So our managers know that, first of all, number one, their job is dependent on them getting the job done in the amount of time that they get it done. That's number one. Number two, if they get it done early, they get the day off, they get to leave early, whatever. We don't care. And we'll pay them through that day. Or we'll give them a paid day. Number three, they know another job's coming. So that's going to put them behind, if they have another job coming as soon as that job's over. So, and also we're a team. So this should go in the pro category. I love the fact that I can take a guy from another crew and send him to a job that's lagging behind and nobody complains because we're all working together. Would you be able to send a sub crew's team member to another team member job site? Probably not, and that's something. Let's also talk about that real quick. That's one of my biggest concerns with subs. I don't know who they're bringing. A lot of companies that do subcontractors only do it on the outside of the house because they probably have the same concern. I don't know who you're bringing. I don't know who's on your team. I didn't vet them. I don't know who you picked up, right? So these things are concerning to me. But team, okay, so I'm supposed to be doing cons here, but again, this is a W-2 video here. So with that said, potential to milk hours, you just got to manage it. You got to, obviously, time management is another con. You got to track time and make sure people are clocking in, all that stuff. I just give everybody 40 hours. We clock in, but even if they're under 40 hours, everybody always gets a full schedule. I mean, if it's 36, 30, I don't care. Give them the 40. Don't nickel and dime them. We'll get it back some way or another, even if it's an extra effort because they're grateful. Don't nickel and dime people. So always give a full schedule. Benefits, right? We got to talk about benefits, health insurance, dental, all these things that need to be taken care of for W-2 employees, right? These are sacrifices that are well worth it though, because you have a team that is loyal to your company. Okay. Training. This is another element that is a con. You have to train people. As much as we like to leverage skill, there are things that we need to teach in our business and the way we do things. Hey, you got to tape the line, right? Training. Got to worry about training. And then the biggest one, I think, is inventory, supplies, vans. I mean, I have 5 vehicles. Actually, I've spent 13 grand on this freaking Prius, dude. Had to get a whole new hybrid system, get a new AC unit, new tires. This is our estimator's vehicle, but still, I mean, vehicles are a pain in the tail. The vans need tires. They need all this stuff. But at the end of the day, this is the operating budget. You just got to understand that that's part of the game. I love W-2 employees. I think one of the greatest levers as a W-2 business is when you go to sell your business, you have the asset of the production team in-house. I think that's valuable. I think that if I were buying a business and it was completely ran off of subcontractors, I wouldn't be as excited as I would if I had, 15 loyal employees that come along with the sale, knowing that the production is consistent It's the same as it was before I bought it, and it's not dependent on someone else's business. So those are some things that I love about it. Okay, so with that said, let's talk about the big thing for me is ultimately how to find the W-2 employees. That's always a big question for people. So I'm going to teach you how to hire them, attract them, and obviously keep them. I'm going to do my best to keep it concise. But number one is finding employees isn't as much about finding them. It's about them finding you. Just like that's my marketing advice as well. First of all, you want to create a good business, right? You got to create an environment that someone of high quality would want to plant their seeds in. And there are high quality people out in every trade. I've met some amazing people that have painted for me that are family men, no drinking, no drugs, good people, really good people, because painting is a very good trade, but your standards determine who you hire. So first of all, like my advice to you is, who are you? Why would I work for you? If I'm a family man, if I have a good wife, a good spouse that is interested in who I'm working for and who I'm around, what is the environment on your job sites? What is the language on the job sites? I mean, what standard did you allow to happen in your business? What are we talking about? What is your standard? Dude, my team knows, man. We ain't talking about nothing that isn't of high standard when I'm around. We're not cussing, no one's drinking. And if you do any of these things, you won't last. You can't survive in our environment because my standard is that. So how bad do you want it? I mean, how bad do you want that culture to the point where you have to become what you want? Because eventually the wrong people will just fade away because they can't handle your pressure. They can't handle your standard. So for me, like my personal standard is no drinking, no drugs, no cussing, no, we're not doing that, man. We're in someone's home. We are a guest. So that's number one is your personal standard. Next is how to create a funnel so the people who apply and interact with you are the right people. So number one, I always say Indeed is the best place to put out an ad, but it's not so much putting out the ad, it's what the ad says. So if the ad says, hey, I'm looking for painters, can you imagine how many people are going to apply? Everyone goes, oh, that's me. I'm a painter. I'll apply. But if you say, I'm looking for painters with a high standard and, understand that being on time is actually being early, right? And showcasing the attitude of professionalism, high quality character, and, a team player, then apply. So the person who reads that, who is not going to apply. So they look at that and they read that and they say, that's not me. I'm not going to waste my time. So the first step is obviously vetting them out through the ad. The second step is through a form. And what we want people to do is fill out a form outside of Indeed. So what I'm looking for here is obviously people that aren't just hitting the apply button on Indeed and they read the post, they click the link to the form. Actually, I think we have it set up where Indeed sends them a message to actually fill out our form. And then that form is through JotForm, and that form zaps right into Slack. And if you don't know what Slack is, it's a communications platform that we use for our team. I love it. It's great. It makes it so easy. And every day I can see right here, we have applications for painters coming in. And based on the answers of those forms, and this is a little more advanced, I have AI scoring those answers based on our criteria. And it will flag if anyone scores over a certain threshold. And at that point, our office admin gets alerted. The AI then looks at the form and creates questions for our admin to ask in a phone interview based on their experiences. So she's prepared. She does the phone interview. And if she has that intuition and good feeling based off of the standard that we gave her and her experience now, because she's done so many of them, then she presents this applicant to our GM. At this point, our GM will go through, read it himself. He'll listen to the call, get a good feel for it. And then at that point, he's going to call and schedule a in-person meeting. That in-person meeting is going to be at Starbucks, McDonald's. It doesn't matter where it is. It's just a public place to get together. And from there, we're making a decision based on, did they show up on time? What is their demeanor like? And who they say they were and who they wrote about in the form and their application. From there, we outline that we're giving them a working interview. That interview is it's for them just as much as for us, so they can see if we're a good fit, we can see if they're a good fit, and that's how it goes. And you might be listening to that saying, dude, that is too much. I don't want to do any of that, or I don't have the time. That's why you're getting bad results. I mean, that's unfortunately, like, you just have to do it. You have to go through that process. If you're a Drip Jobs user, I actually have a whole course on this in Drip Jobs. So you just go to the DJ Academy, and there is a whole hiring course where I break down everything for you to do it and install that system in your business. It's a great system. And it's fail proof because, well, it's not 100% fail proof because people still in that working interview drop the ball. But it's amazing. Sometimes I'm just like, man, it's crazy that somebody can get all the way through and then make an excuse on the first day of work that they can't make it, or show up to work and be unprepared or be late. And it's just great because it's like, we use this process because if you don't create a process, then you're just subjecting yourself to pain because you just know that the process is better than no process. We're not going to get into operational theory here, but I'm just letting you know that you got to have a hiring process, a strong one. And early on, I was the one doing the phone interviews. I was the one doing the in-person interviews. I was the one making the hiring decisions. And then ultimately, I was the one making the freaking firing decisions, which is the worst part of business. Just let's put that out there. That's another con, is firing people, not letting go of a sub crew. Okay. Knowing that, like, these people might not be able to, pay their bills because they don't have a team. It's just, obviously that's a very sucky con. So hopefully your hiring process helps you with that. The best employees are the ones that are moving into town or working for someone else. I don't poach employees. I never will ever do that. I don't like to do that. It doesn't feel good inside, for me at least. I believe that everything that's meant for me finds me. And if someone finds us, then that's who, if they're working for someone else and they see our ad, that's how I want to be introduced to them. I'm not going to go into freaking someone's business and see someone working really hard and doing a great job saying, hey, you want to work for me? And taking them away from another business owner's business. And, if it doesn't work out, like, great, he screwed that job up and now he's, it just doesn't feel right. Okay. So that's my opinion on it. You do what you want. W-2 workers, they want consistency. So this is how you keep W-2 workers, is you create consistency. There's a reason they are an employee. Not everyone's cut out to be a business owner. So consistency is what the trade-off is. They expect a full week schedule. My standard on this is this: if I can't create a full week schedule, then I am going to pay you a full week schedule, because you didn't apply for us on the premise that you would be getting less than 5 days of work. So that's always been my standard. I've never had to pay more than 2 extra days worth of time, and that was probably because it rained. So for me, even having that, I'm big on creating things like that, so it motivates me. But I'm like, I'm not paying nobody extra money for nothing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna find a job this week. So and that's how it goes. That's another con. I don't want to make this about cons, but if you're new into this, or if you are switching, you got to know this stuff, is that can't forget, you got to make sure there's work every day. With employees, you can't just say, hey, sub, I'll call you in 3 weeks. It doesn't work that way with employees. But again, what's great about that is you might be thinking, yeah, that's something I've thought about too. That's kind of hard, but that's your leverage. That's how you get quality people. If you're a business that can produce consistent work, there's not many painting companies in your area that have work every single day. And that's because a lot of them aren't focused on sales and marketing. And you probably are, because you're listening to this. So that's your leverage, is 40 hours a week. And you need to make a promise to yourself and be like, I'll pay it either way. And again, that leads to the last part, is how to keep home service W-2 employees, which is create a growth path. Ultimately, what I love is that, we promote from within, man. It's so cool. I have a new crew leader. His name's Jonathan, and he's getting so many reviews. I mean, he was working as a team member. We had an opening open up. We had to let go of someone, and Jonathan steps up, and now he is leading everyone in reviews. And we bonus on reviews. That's my favorite bonus to give. and he's just crushing it. And I'm proud of him. So I think, it's just one of those impact things, promoting from within. Now, the fact that he moved up, everyone else sees that, and they have the belief that if they work hard, they can move up. And if the time comes, we will open up another crew for the right person, because managers require a lot of skills. They need to be people persons. They need to have good job management instinct. They need to know how to paint. They need to know what quality looks like. They need to be respectful in the job. I mean, you probably know this, or if you're new, you might not, but like, it's almost like a dance. It's almost like you're putting on a show. So a lot of different qualifications have to happen in order to find a good manager. And I'm very proud of this. You can go and look up Premium Painting. You can go and look up Jonathan. He's probably the last 5 reviews talk about Jonathan, and he's our newest manager. And that is because we nurtured him the right way, showed him the way, explained to him that he had an opportunity for this role, and he set his sights on it and made it an easy decision for us. So, again, I love the W-2. I will never switch. I've had subcontractors come and go. It's been appealing just for the simple fact that we can make money. We're making money. So it's like, for me, I love the impact side. Hey, I'm always asking Julio, how are the guys doing? Who's doing this? How's the new guy doing? Hey, did he work out? Like, that to me is important. Like, do they like working here? So if you align with me on that, you might be a W-2 guy. So with that said, thanks for watching this. I hope this was insightful. If I missed anything that you want to know, drop a comment for me. Find a way to reach out to me. I'll make another video about it. But this was more so a generalized video of just my experience with W-2, along with some of my thoughts around the difference between subs and W-2. I hope this video blesses your business. And hey, if you're not doing anything, check out the 31 days of value. I feel like this would be a good investment for you. It pretty much outlines everything that I just talked about, because these are my experiences. But what I love about the 31 days of value, and if you haven't seen it or heard about it, it's a book I wrote on based off of a 31-day stretch of the Contractor Secrets podcast, where I did an episode 31 days in a row. And you can find that in the Contractor Secrets library. But what came out of that was this book, and I felt like God was calling me to just put it on paper, because it's just another way that it can get to you and solidify that time period of just like giving value. So that's what I'm about, is giving value. There's a ton in here. It's like a daily devotional for business, where each day we talk about an area of your business. It gives you some action steps. And the goal is actually, the underlying goal of this is for you to actually develop 31 days of consistency. That is the goal. Like, above all else, sitting down and reading one day at a time. It's got a Bible verse at the end of each chapter. I'm proud of this thing. So some people have told me they loved it. So I'd love for you to get yourself a copy and check it out. It's on Amazon. I think it's like $20 or something, but I appreciate your support. And I hope that blesses you as well. So thank you for watching. We'll catch you on the next episode. And don't forget, we are launching Routimize. So if you are a home service business owner and you don't have anything helping you schedule your appointments, you're going to want to check out Routimize. We have 75 beta users at the time of this recording. We've scheduled over 2,500 appointments with it. A lot of people are asking me what it does and what it is. I'll briefly tell you here. Routimize is a all-encompassing tool that you can use to help organize your schedule through AI. And you put the widget on your website, on Facebook, on Instagram, and a customer can book with you instantly, or your sales team book with you instantly. Now, you might be thinking, Tanner, there's Calendly, there's You Can Book Me. Yes, but the problem with those is an Acuity. The problem with those tools are they don't have route optimization baked in, and that's what Routimize does. So it's a scheduling tool that at the point of scheduling, the customer has an address and you have a schedule, and the system looks at the customer's address and looks at your entire schedule and tries to find the best slot for that address. And that's based on proximity. So if you have 5 appointments and one comes in that's a neighbor to one of your 5 appointments, it's going to offer that customer that's coming in real time that slot that's next to the neighbor, so you can fit more appointments in on the same day. So man, I love it. We use it in premium painting, and we have 75 companies using it now. So if you feel like that's going to be something that helps you, check out routimize.com. As always, I appreciate your support, and thank you for checking out the Contractor Secrets Podcast.